Overcame with ActionCOACH, and this is an Entrepreneur Spotlight interview. We've got another interesting guest for you today, Phil Bouchard. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you, George.
So, Phil, tell us a little bit about your company.
It's not a shoe store. It's a deep tech company. We create innovative software and groundbreaking research in physics. So it's extremely challenging. It's extremely. There's a lot to do. Let's put it that way.
I understand. So when did you start the company?
It was back in 2018, but it was more for contracting work back then.
Okay. And so were you employed with another company before? What were you doing? I guess my question is, what made you decide to become an entrepreneur? What was the thing that made you take the jump?
Yeah, it started a long time, long before 2018. Actually, I started in 2004. Actually, I started working on the with the open source community, and then it diverged into my project diverged into a proprietary source code and about the memory management. I started with the Boost C++ library, and then I wanted to open source it, but it was so complex that I decided to diverge into proprietary code, and I also was doing research in physics in parallel at the same time.
So, okay, I get the technology, but I'm asking you, like, as a business person, as a human being, why did you decide to become an entrepreneur versus, just work for somebody else, just do your work under somebody else's banner? Why become your own boss?
Yeah, because initially I thought it would be easy, an easy task. So I kind of underestimated the difficulty of the that venture.
Okay. So
So
for the sake of our viewers, what were some of the things that you underestimated? So give us an example of one thing that you underestimated. Like, from the point of view, if you could go back in time and do things over again, what problem or what thing that you underestimated would you have tackled differently?
Well, for the memory manager, there's no way I could have done it differently because complexity is complexity. I underestimated the complexity of the memory manager, but the it cannot be undone or redone differently because it's just complex. But the astrophysics project, it was hard, but it was harder to convince the scientific community. They're very conservative, and they're not open-minded at all to new theories. They want to stick with their general relativity, and that's the way things works. And
If
don't.
it's good enough for Einstein, it's good enough for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
exactly,
you.
exactly.
But in terms of the business challenges, like, did you start off on your own? Were you working on your own? Did you have employees? Did you need investors? Talk to us a little bit about the early days.
Yeah, the early days. I did associate with some people for the management side because I'm more of a technical, scientific type of person, and I associated with some people for the management end, but it did not end well. And actually, I figured it's not that complicated after all, the administration side, so I might as well learn it on my own and manage the company on my own. So it's easier to learn it and go through the long path of the administration side than making sure that you can trust somebody you can associate with. He's not trying to make money off your back and things like that. So it's just easier to learn these things yourself. And also, I was not really. I did apply for incubators
Mm-hmm.
that help startups here in Canada, but I was not accepted because they didn't really understand what I was doing, or they didn't see the market. They didn't really bother to look very carefully what I was doing. They didn't see the potential. That's what happened. But I was accepted to present 3 times at a defense conference in the United States.
Wow.
So 3 times, and then my third time is gonna be this December in Texas. So yeah, it's
Okay, so what I heard you say, Phil, is that for for younger entrepreneurs, for newer entrepreneurs, it's a good idea to have a team around you, but you still need to understand the basics yourself. You still need to have a grasp of the basics, the business basics, the marketing basics, the administration basics, before you go and trust somebody else to do it for you. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
yeah, exactly. You need to be objective, very objective. I do have a background, well, a certificate in general business management that I gained this summer.
Mhm.
So I know the general overview of all the administration.
You know enough that someone can't bullshit you.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I get it. That's good, but that's good advice, especially for people in the technical fields. It's important to have a grasp of basic business terms and understand business technology to a certain degree. It's a lot easier than astrophysics, anyways. But so okay, so now let's talk about what you talk about your complexity, and I understand. I mean, I don't understand it, but I understand that it is complex. But what I'm asking you to try to put in terms for us, help us understand how you were able to take a complex subject and help your audience to understand what it was. Because that's a big deal. That's a it's not easy to translate a complex scientific idea and make people understand the business of it. How did you
Yeah.
overcome that?
Well, there's two things. The memory manager is related to C++. C++ can be easily a very complex language, and the astrophysics thing, it's the tensor calculus can be very complex, but fortunately the mathematics that I'm based on are much simpler. You only require like a undergraduate background in science, and you'll be able to understand my solutions. And but there were like things that I had to do a lot of thinking to simplify and integrate it into real life. I think that the most thing the thing I'm mostly proud of is figuring out linking my theory, my astrophysics theory with atomic physics. So the two are linked together. I can explain the atomic forces with my theory and the strong and the weak nuclear forces. And it's very easy. But I did a lot of takings for 2 weeks. I couldn't get it out of my head. Yeah, it's crazy.
So what I'm hearing you say is that, and this is a good lesson for anybody, regardless of what your business is, and regardless of what your product or service that you're selling, having a simplified presentation, being able to simplify a complex idea, concept, product is much easier to sell. I mean, I get the impression that after you did that hard work, it was easier for you to communicate the value of your product or your service to potential clients.
Yeah, that's what I did at the defense conference. But the most importantly, you cannot afford to be wrong. You can't simplify it. Yeah, it's one thing to simplify it, but to make sure you're right, then you don't go to these conferences with all a whole
No,
bunch of wrong ideas, and it's very challenging.
I think it was Einstein that said that a test of your knowledge of a subject is when you can explain it to a 6-year-old and they get it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's still correct, but you have to know it well enough to be able to explain it. So I think that's a good lesson for any entrepreneur, for sure.
Yeah. Even if I rewrote the mathematics of Einstein, I do enjoy his saying.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get back to the business aspect of things. How big is your team now, or how many people are there in your company?
Right now we're three executives, so
Okay.
I'm the main developer. Obviously, I'm more on the technical end and the management end, and but for for investment. I've got an investor partner, another one who handles I got a CIO and a CPO,
Mm-hmm.
so operational officer and investment officer. So yeah, I've got all the dots are there. I'm still pre-sale, but I've got very interesting contracts coming down the road. I've got big partnership with a multinational in cybersecurity already,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in touch with U.S. military affiliated companies that I have kind of contracts with to deploy very 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 soon. And my shareware, the memory manager, the C++ superset, is about to be deployed very soon. So by the end of the month, it should be out there on the market.
So Phil, help us understand, like pretend I'm a 6-year-old, because I'm not far from a 6-year-old. Pretend I'm a 6-year-old and help me understand, what does your software accomplish? What does it do for the user?
Well, I've got multiple software. The first one is called C++ superset. You know, when you use a software and it disappears and you lose everything, it crashes.
Yeah. Happens
We
to me
all hate
almost
that.
every day.
Like your computer
Yeah.
an hour ago. So it prevents the software from crashing or
Oh,
having
okay.
memory leaks.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, and it's very easy to use. It fixes things implicitly at compile time, and yeah, and it's good. It's good because it's good for the aerospace industry, aeronautics as well, because if it prevents all devices from crashing, then it's going to prevent the snowball effects that can cause other devices from crashing or things like that.
Yeah, chain reaction failures. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand. Very interesting. So obviously your clients are so who are your clients? Governments, defense contractors, who are your customers?
Well, for C++ superset, NVDA is a one potential, big potential. I'm already in touch with, but they're waiting for my software to be massively deployed, or they're waiting for a partnership and things like that. So they're on hold right now. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna go back to them as soon as my software is deployed. The fintech, the gaming industry, the aerospace, aeronautics, the software developers, all of them are customers that face every day software that crash and things like that. Especially fintech, because the fintech, they can lose thousands of dollars in a few seconds when their backend server crashes.
Oh yeah. No, I get it. I get it. All right, this is amazing. So I heard you say something about, the American military. What's been your experience with regards to being able to raise funds to support your startup? Because a lot of startups have challenges when it comes to raising money. What's been your experience there?
Yeah, it's not easy to raise money. Obviously, I assume I took for granted it would have been easier than that, but it's not. Especially here in Canada, they don't. There's no angel investors. There's
There
no
are some, but
grants.
the community is very small.
There's no grants for innovative type of research, R&D, or there are tax credits, but you don't take a lot, the net results you have to pay, it balances the tax and
Yeah, the ecosystem, the venture capital ecosystem here in Canada, especially here in Quebec, is much smaller, obviously, than the American, but it's smaller even by ratio of population. I mean, we don't, even if you take the ratio and make it the same, there isn't as robust a venture capital community here in Canada as there is in the United States. That's for sure.
yeah, and I'm in touch with the US government through I can do business. I applied for a lot of grants in the US and with NATO and groups like that. I'm still waiting to get their answer. But United States, they're a lot more generous for the type of grants they give based on the merit that your work has. So that's why I keep going to United States. And yeah, I've got pretty much the most important points of contacts. I just need to prove that even if I've been there 2 times already, I still need to prove that my technology is robust, has been tested,
Well,
which happened already.
2 times is not too much. I mean, you think about these TV shows where they have all these, they give away these awards for things. I mean, usually they have to go back a few times before they win the big prize. So I think
Yeah.
2 times is not too much.
Yeah, you need to. I need to learn how to close the deals and things like that. So initially, I was just happy to be there, but now I need to learn to close deals. So fortunately,
Gonna
whole
come.
team. Sorry.
I said that's gonna come. That's
Yeah.
gonna come
Fortunately,
for
the
sure.
whole Fornux team will be there in Texas, and I'll be there with some partners as well. So that's gonna be very helpful. And yeah, I know what to expect, and I'll be better prepared this time.
Excellent. Excellent. So as we wrap up this interview, what's the future? So let's say everything goes perfect, like there's no mistakes and you get everything you want. Where is this company going to be in a year from now? Where will you be? Like how big will you be? How big will your team be? What clients will you be serving? What do you see the future being, Phil?
If all goes well, then I'll be close to retirement because I didn't talk about the software the software deal I have with the U.S. military affiliated company. It's a depth perception tool that computes the depth of objects inside stereo videos,
Oh my.
and it's very useful for the military. So that's the main. That's gonna be the second money cow here.
So that's your jackpot. If that
Yeah,
if that sells, then you're able to retire. Is that what you're saying?
exactly. Yeah.
Well, good. I hope that works for you. Well,
Yeah.
Phil, this has been a great interview. I want to hear all about your trip to Texas, and I hope that you knock it out of the park and you come back home with a deal and a briefcase full of American money.
Awesome. I'll do that. I'll do that, sir.
All right. Thank you, Phil.
Okay, awesome. Then have a good day.